If there's one thing the internet can always be relied upon, it's leaks. A mole in some company throwing out information to those who shouldn't have it. There's something fascinating about getting such details thrown into your face. It's a little different when it comes to wrestling, as who better to work the fans than the workers themselves? That doesn't stop it happening from time and time again. Some of these nuggets are so bonkers they beg a belief and cause waves of chatter through social media and of course Reddit. So let's stick to the supposed facts today and run through some of the best. I'm Simon from What Culture. This is 10 insane revelations from secret WWE leaks. Number 10, NXT UK rehearse everything. Writing for Vice, David Bixenspan produced an intriguing article based on a leaked video he had discovered on WWE's own YouTube channel. Uploaded unlisted, smart so-and-sos online found a way to access it, and through that a barrage of behind-the-scenes facts were laid bare, mainly that the guys and girls in NXT UK do a lot of rehearsals. From Trent Seven practicing his entrance to other wrestlers going through certain moves that they go on to replicate in their matches later on, it was a warts and all look at what goes on before fans have entered the arena. It's interesting that the Raw and SmackDown crew don't seem to go through the same motions, but maybe that ties into how WWE still sees NXT. Even though the main brand has moved to the USA Network, it is still developmental, and this likely allows the wrestlers to get more experience with using cameras and playing up for things for TV. The real question is why this was hidden away on YouTube and how somebody hunted it down. Have to imagine it's the last thing WWE wanted. Number 9, Tom Phillips winds up Vince McMahon. Coming from the same set of leaks, hearing Tom Phillips go through the motions as he gets some practice time is odd. There's no need to go crazy here, so he doesn't, but it's the polar opposite to what you'd expect. You also get unexpected things like this. As Phillips was communicating with producer John Briley as he watched Tyler Bate get some practice in, he asks him to use pronouns, pal, a Vince McMahon-ism if there ever was one. If you don't know, a pet peeve of the boss is to use he or she when referring to a wrestler, because that's not specific enough. Phillips carries this on too when he throws in a gosh damn pal in his best Vinnie Mac impression. The pair also make fun of Amir Jordan after he screwed up a splash, and just to be clear, this is all in good nature as opposed to some giant expose. Still bizarre to hear. Number 8, the leaked do's and don'ts. These are always the best. In 2015, the do's and don'ts for the commentators got out into the wild, and seeing what's okay and what is not okay when you're a WWE announcer was fascinating. Take the first directive. Don't be crude and take the high road, especially with the divas. That's got to be aimed at one Jerry Lawler, and as we know, he listened to that about as much as management listening to the fans booing Roman Reigns. Nothing was getting in the way of his dated material. Another choice piece of advice was that the use of topical info as analogies and examples is effective if not forced, which explains why sometimes commentators do start talking about Kanye West. The word forced seems a bit much, but they're the rules, damn it. They're also told not to say the referee didn't see it because that implies that WWE officials are bad at their job. That must be the hardest of all, because think of all the non-finishes we get in that promotion. You'd think if you want your refs to come across as in control, they wouldn't be put in that positions to begin with. Commentators are also told to understand the heritage and history of the business, but at the same time, never ever use the word business. Number 7, Vince McMahon knows about Britney Spears. Following on in this leak is of course the suggestion not to use pronouns. We've already discussed why McMahon isn't a fan of those, although I don't think it applies much here. If I see Braun Strowman eating Drew Gulak and Michael Cole tells me he's about to get these hands, I'll be able to work it out. It's also best not to tell the audience what they should think because nobody likes that, and a big no-no is to read anything because the audience can tell and they don't like it. Hell, that is a rule and countless social media hashtags still get heard at every show, but I don't know. We end with the topical push though because it ties into McMahon himself. An example of such behavior was to mention Britney Spears when the boss had his head shaved at WrestleMania. The problem there is that Vince losing his hair was a fictional angle, whereas Britney going through a public meltdown was anything but. Really don't think you should be comparing those things. Number 6, how the creative team supposedly works. So there is this amazing video you can watch right now that once again is unlisted on WWE's YouTube channel. Serving as a job advert for becoming a writer, it's an incredible look into how the process works and what the company wants. There's a lot of talk about putting smiles on people's faces, but the choice line is a guy who says he has experience in everything but WWE. Now, a job is a job and more power to anybody who lands one, but it's amazing to see a WWE produced video saying that to write for the company, you don't need any experience in wrestling. You think it would matter, but apparently not. What you learn is that all this chat about Vince McMahon looking for TV writers as opposed to fans of the industry is true, which is why these days, as opposed to the boss and Pat Patterson booking around the pool, they have a sitcom and movie scribes coming up with ideas for Seth Rollins. I suppose the real problem is that while everyone here talks about freedom and the room for suggesting ideas, most of us know that if McMahon isn't interested, it doesn't matter. He says yes, he says no, and then then we move on to whatever is next. You should watch it though, it's mesmerizing. Number 5, Jim Ross hates Creed. Creed are an interesting band. While they have a huge fan base and constantly sold out arenas during their peak, a lot of people did not like them. Just type them into Google and find some opinions. It's polarizing. WWE clearly weren't in this bracket because they ran them into the ground during the Attitude Era. My Sacrifice was as common as the Raw theme tune, and to everybody's credit, those vignettes were amazing. Stone Cold Steve Austin one will still give you goosebumps even though it's over 20 years old. Again though, for every fan there's a hater, and this was true when it came to legendary commentator Jim Ross. In a brilliant video that has since been pulled from YouTube, JR quips, "Not this song again," as Scott Stapp's vocal is heard once more. It's excellent. In an odd twist, in a similar incident all these years later, during an ad break, Ross and co-commentator Tony Schiavone are heard saying how much they enjoy Judas by Chris Jericho's Fozzy during an AEW show. Tony even tells us he has it on Spotify. Lovely. Number 4, Michael Cole butts heads with Vince McMahon. Featured in a leaked video in 2014, Michael Cole actually questioned Vince McMahon's methods. Clearly responding to another request from the boss, Cole asked, "Do you want me to say that every time? Because I've said it a load of times tonight." Sadly, we never hear McMahon's reply, but given how often social media names and hashtags are thrown out there during Raw or SmackDown, you've got to assume the answer back was yes, and if you think you have said it too much, do it more. Maybe 43,578 uses of the term WWE Universe wasn't enough. We do get to hear Cole's follow-up though, as he replies, "Okay, yes sir, okay, I got it sir, I just didn't know if you wanted me to hit it every time, but I'll do that from now on. Okay, you got it, thank you." The lesson: don't cross the boss. Ever. Number 3, JBL and Cole are friends, but Tony Chimel is a goof. From the same leaked audio, we also learn about the WWE backstage scene, even though there's every chance this is just light-hearted ribbing. Cole is shown making his pre-taping entrance before he tests out his headset. JBL then joins him and the two clown around for a bit. It's amazing to hear the pair talk like this because it's obvious there is a bond between them. Michael relentlessly hazes Bradshaw, who basically laughs the whole thing off. I bet if anybody else did that, he'd clothesline their heads off. JBL gives it back by hitting Cole with his cowboy hat before being called Mr. Maturity. So odd. It continued after Tony Chimel botched one of his announcements too. Without even a thought, Cole refers to him as a goof, which is a little mean, but again, all of this is so tongue-in-cheek, I shall hope it's all said in a good-natured way. I realise that's a long shot, but hey, my bubble world is really nice. Number 2, scripted promos read odder than they're actually said. Following another leaked Raw script in 2014, we saw what is said on the pieces of paper shoved into wrestlers' faces before they go out onto TV and recite such nonsense. A Bray Wyatt promo, for example, actually said, "I've learned that fire is cold and ice is hot." Okay. There's even a note for Wyatt instructing him to pause for a few seconds before continuing, and I'm surprised it also didn't remind him to breathe and to actually go and say these words. John Cena's verbiage in reply to this is even better. He gets the line, "First of all, your sister Abigail sounds like a lovely woman. Hopefully you're not twins, because then she might qualify as the ugliest woman on planet Earth." I mean, that is what I would write when I was 13. It's also stupid from a character point of view because if nothing else, people should be a little freaked out by Wyatt's weird family. Otherwise, what's the point? Anyway, we know how all this played out, and really it's better than what could have happened if we had gone straight off the script. Number 1, the WWF superstars are supposedly naughty boys. It's odd this isn't more well known about given how much fans love behind the scenes information, but it is very real. Brought to us by Max Payne, known better in the industry as Man Mountain Rock, out there in the world of the internet is footage that breaks the fourth wall to show what life on the road is really like for a wrestler. It's focused around the idea that 90s wrestlers probably took a lot of uppers and painkillers, and while that's no big surprise, it's nuts one of the boys actually took the lead with this. The whole tone is quite dark and off-putting, and at one point Yokozuna is shown with his finger in his mouth. Now he might have been biting his nails, but then again he is a 90s wrestler on a tour bus. Kevin Nash meanwhile is shown with a massive beam on his face, dropping several bottles of pills into a box. You can't see the pills, so again who knows, but again, who thought this was a good idea to film? It's genuinely jaw-dropping and probably something today WWE wants to keep on the down low. Know of any other revelations from secret WWE leaks? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Then head over to whatculture.com and read yourself some articles, and follow What Culture on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE. My name is Simon from What Culture, and I will talk to you again soon.
Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from What Culture, and if you're a fan of what you've just seen, then make sure you subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts for daily wrestling podcasts, where we not only review Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live, we also discuss the events before and after of pay-per-views. We have roundtable discussions discussing burning wrestling issues, interviews, and a roundup of the week, complete with a bloody good quiz, of course, on wrestle culture. Thanks for watching. I've been Adam from What Culture, and I'll see you soon.